Players Association have told the players they have until June 24th to inform teams of whether they plan to participate in Orlando. That's according to a memo obtained by ESPN. Players also received a separate handbook outlining more details of what life will be like in the bubble in Orlando. And some of the key points include the biggest question, which is what happens in the case of a positive test. If that is the case, a player must isolate away from the team resort in a separate location for 14 days and pass a cardiac test to return to play. As for what life will be like on the grounds of Disney, players will have access to player lounges, pools, golf, and 24-hour food and concierge services. And an anonymous hotline has been set up to call into if anyone sees people violating the rules that have been set in place. Now, there's a lot to talk about here, and we will get to all of it. Malika Andrews, who's been working the story for us like crazy, joins us this morning. And the big fella, Kendrick Perkins, is with us as well. Malika, I'll start with you. You were working on this reporting overnight. What are the players saying?
Overnight, and I'm a little tired. But essentially, Greeny, the players, a lot of them haven't gotten a chance to read through the entirety of the safety protocols that are laying out because, as you said, it took working a little bit overnight to do it. It is a dense document, and clearly the NBA in some way anticipated that because within the first 3 days that players are going to be on campus in the bubble, they actually have a mandatory educational session where they're going to go through all the points that are laid out in that 100-page document. But the players that I've been texting with, some of them said, you know, I'm getting a lot of the highlights from Twitter. Some of them said, I'm just happy to know a little bit more about exactly what it's going to look like in the bubble after months and weeks of uncertainty. And then a couple of players said, wow, it really is as restrictive as people were whispering about. And that came as a little bit of a surprise to them.
All right, and big fella, let me ask you here, from a health and safety perspective, and obviously there's a lot more to talk about this morning, and we will, but from the perspective of health and safety and life in the bubble, what did you think of all of it?
I love the idea, Greeny. Listen, I always said this, we have the best commissioner in sports in Adam Silver, and he never steered us wrong. So at the end of the day, I want to applaud him and the leadership that he has provided. And also, we never seen the Players Association and the NBA unite like they have did over the last couple of months during this pandemic to come to a conclusion that we're going to continue the season. So right now we're talking about $1 billion business that I'm pretty sure they have crossed their T's and dotted their I's. I have no worries at all. I have full trust in Adam Silver.
Yeah, and I've seen firsthand to some degree the partnership between Michelle Roberts, who runs the Players Association, and Adam Silver, who is the league's commissioner, and they do seem to be working as partners, which is a huge plus for them during this complicated time. Now, that's the health side of it. For the players, I get that that's incredibly important, but to the fans, there's another huge issue as the league is navigating, and that centers, of course, on the issue of social justice. So let's get to that. Avery Bradley, who is a co-leader of the Players Coalition, told ESPN, quote, the actual act of sitting out doesn't directly fight systemic racism, but it does highlight the reality that without black athletes, the NBA wouldn't be what it is today. The league has a responsibility to our communities in helping to empower us, just as we have made the NBA brand strong. Meanwhile, on SportsCenter's Instagram Live with our Richard Jefferson, Bucks vet Kyle Korver said seeking change is more important to him than winning a title.
If my black teammates and friends and brothers feel like the best way to go about real change is to not play, I stand with them. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that, right? If we think that is the best way for change, I care more about change happening than a championship, right? On the other side, I am on a team that feels like we could win, and I have never won, and I would like to win. So, is there a way to do both? I think there's a conversation there.
But these are the conversations that are happening both publicly and privately. And Malika, you have been covering this story going all the way back to its beginning. What stood out to you about the things that were said yesterday?
Yeah, so first of all, Greeny, I want to say that I did check in with some sources with the Bucks, and from everything that I've heard, Kyle Korver, one, is so motivated to make sure he amplifies the voices and the perspective of his teammates and is continuing to learn from his black and brown colleagues, but he also does want to play. There's a hope within the Bucks that they absolutely are motivated to do both. They very much want to continue to bring awareness to social justice and also continue to go after that championship. Now, Adrian Wojnarowski and I spoke with Avery Bradley yesterday, And up until Tuesday, it was a little bit convoluted what exactly the players were looking for from the league in terms of tangible action. And Avery told us three things. He said, essentially, what he would like from the league is a improved practice for hiring minority head coaching candidates, for hiring minority front office folks, for hiring minority people into the league office, so that the people who make decisions in the NBA better reflect the racial makeup of the players. Secondly, he would like to see the NBA partner more with black businesses and black vendors in games. And third, he wants to see more of those financial contributions like what we've seen from Michael Jordan and Mark Cuban from the ownership side, because he thinks, players can only do so much and go so far. And he clarified actually that he isn't against the people who want to go and play, but what he believes is that those folks who want to go to Orlando and use their platform will be amplified even more, will have a larger impact if they have the owner's support behind them.